Selkirk Youth against Peebles Colts, and we've already had an early score from Dale.
No, Dale didn't score. It was a try for Peebles though. That was something that never got echoed that much. But Peebles do strike first in this final. It was a try from Louis White over on the far side, unconverted. So it's currently 5 points to 0 to Peebles Colts. But Oliver McClymondt has just hacked it downfield and looks to try and gather the ball. He's got some supporting players out wide, but Ross Wolfenden was there just cutting out that loose ball. And now Aaron Lambert for Selkirk Youth Club is darting and weaving his way through, trying to find that little space, and eventually Selkirk Youth Club are ragdolled towards the ground. Lambert gets there and finds McClymondt again. His options are cut out by Chris Thompson, who's bursting out of the Peebles line, and McClymondt just lofts the ball over the head of the on-rushing Peebles defensive player. But there's going to be a knock-on, and you know, it was one of the games in the first round that we did witness, and it was Peebles versus Gala Wanderers. It was physical, it was high quality, but both of these sides have come through and then contest for some silverware, and it's great to see them still being able to play rugby instead of just being knocked out in the first round.
No, absolutely, and that's how these, especially at this level, you know, at semi-junior and at junior level, it should always be, you lose your first game, you go into a shield competition, because it keeps everybody interested. You know, it gives them a longer afternoon. It's not just, you know, you see it in the Kings of the Sevens, you know, when a team will come, and unfortunately a team like Berwick that's got to travel a bit, and they'll go to Peebles on a Sunday or whatever, and you know they lose in the first round, and you know it's a 9-hour round trip for sort of 14 minutes of rugby, and you know and this is exactly what it is, and they're still giving them something to play for tonight, and certainly both teams will want to win this final.
Chris Thompson was a bit cheeky there because he was in a complete offside position and kicked the ball back on his side. The referee almost blew the whistle, but did not spot it whatsoever. So the Merchiston school pupil managed just to go forward with the ball, chipped it forward, but it's just ended up in a knock-on. And you know, there's a lot of good players in this Peebles side. Ross Wolfenden was playing for Scotland under-18s in the warm-up games before the festival that under-18s have at age grade level. Chris Thompson was also one who's now at Merchiston, and Peebles are certainly benefiting from a whole clutch of players coming through. Hunter as well, and McKeever, two players that have played first-team rugby. So you know, it's changed days now that they've got a lot of top quality players at these two clubs, at these two levels.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's we want to see, hopefully, if Peebles can hold on to these guys and bring them up into the senior ranks and get Peebles. I know Peebles are in National 2 now, they're not that far away, but we want to get Peebles and all the border clubs as high up the leagues as we can.
And Louis White is just streaking in after some great work from Ross Wolfenden. He's managed just to find the gap and just wave the ball as if it was a wand to orchestrate the little gap in the defensive line. And Louis White, he's a difficult guy to try and stop if you give him a march, and he managed just to use his pace, burst through.
It's good to see Callum taking on the Sevens coaching role this year with Melrose as well, and obviously looking back at 12 years when the last time the Melrose team won it, and you know, Cal was absolutely outstanding that day, and between him and my big brother pretty much won us the tournament with Scott White's dropouts and John Dale's kick-off receipts.
Yeah.
But you know, absolutely, and the Andersons have been there and you know, part of that People's squad for a long time, and the Andersons and McKeevers, it's like saying before, though, you want to get these Peebles back to where they were, and if they can hold on to the players, that's the hard thing for these clubs now, you know, to hold on to these players for as long as possible, because you know, it's a great club, Peebles. I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting next to you, Dale, but you know, I used to love going up there for the Sevens tournaments. Great club, great atmosphere, and proper club boys.
I did hear Sam Matthews explaining earlier on about the buzz in the town, and it's certainly something that is felt when you go back into the Peebles community of they're very proud of what the youngsters have done. It's something that has never been done before. The winners of the semi-junior league for the first time in their history. But they've got the ball now. It is McKeever. He finds Wolfenden. He's got Thompson for support. He just floats the ball up, and it's a lovely wraparound in midfield between Thompson and Wolfenden. He's got him back, and Thompson has just asked for the ball back on his side, and he is just tracking straight down the middle of the field. He's got a couple of players for company in Selkirk colours, but he's got the ball down, and Peebles well and truly in the driving seat. But that is great play between two players who know each other so well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just see these guys have played a lot of rugby together, and they just, when that pass was left up there in the air, we wondering who was coming on it, but he was his mate, and he took it right through the middle of the field and took the pass to score under the sticks. All credit to the coaches and all the clubs that are putting obviously the effort into these semi-junior teams, and this is two good teams here, but you look at Peebles and the two teams competing in the final in Jed Thistle and Kelso Harlequins, and obviously a good Gala team that they've just knocked out, and absolutely, and big physical lads as well. That's the thing, and really high skill level, and it's just exactly what you want to see in local rugby.
Ewan Hunter receives the ball from the kick-off eventually as it bubbled about in front of him, but he managed to get the ball under his spell and now into the hands of Thompson, and he's sizing up his options, looking to wind this big loopy pass out to McKeever. It's bounced off the artificial surface, and now Kel McKeever is putting the afterburners on, just bounces back in field, puts the handoff in, and he's going to go in for a try for Peebles and stretch their lead straight after half-time. A little dance underneath the post as well. Certainly exhibiting confidence, which you probably wouldn't find Donald Anderson doing that, but yes, young Frey McKeever certainly can do that, and it's certainly a good afternoon so far for Peebles.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great play though. It's just a balance of running there. He took that ball kind of half on the outside arc, cut back in and just put the afterburners on, left the two Selkirk lads for dead, and a little bit of Dale Clancy showboating under the sticks there, but we don't mind that.
Yeah. And it is Thompson to take the restart. He hoists it high, and it's underneath that his Callum McRobert. It has ended up in the hands of Oliver McClyman for Selkirk Youth Club. And again, just sizing up his options with his head firmly fixed, focusing on this Peebles defensive line, but his options were limited. And now Selkirk Youth Club now stretch the pitch and find a little gap there. It's been lumped downfield from Finlater, and now making it a foot race. Back there is Louis White. He's telling his teammate Batia not to involve himself, and he's got this one covered, and rightfully so, because he won the penalty. Ross Wolfenden takes it quick. He's got Chris Thompson there for support. He comes back in field and then chips it forward and looks to try and make this a foot race, but Selkirk Youth Club have this covered. In the backfield is Patrick McDonald, now in the hands of Kyle Pearson, and he has got Aaron Lambert for support. Offloads back to Pearson, looping round, and now McClyman fizzes the ball to Finlater, who's hugging the touchline. Now a couple of players there covering for Peebles, and it's a good defensive effort there from Louis White, but the offload goes to hand. It's brilliantly been picked up off the turf there by Brodie Allen. Excellent play from the young man to just pick that off his toes. It looked like it was a kind of throw to nothing there from Finlater, but it was expertly gathered by Brodie Allen, and eventually Selkirk Youth Club managed to get off the board in this final.
Yeah, and all credit to Selkirk. They've plugged away the whole time, and they've kept hold of the ball there, and a wee bit of a sceptical pass inside there. It looked forward from this angle, but Matthew Wilkie looked over at his touch person and got the thumbs up. So all credit to Brodie Allen for playing on and getting off his bootlaces and getting in for the score. And
there's still a little bit of time for Selkirk Youth Club to try and do something and pull it from the fire, but they just kick it to Ross Wolfenden. He eventually finds a teammate, and people looking to stretch the park now as it goes to Thompson. Thompson's got Hunter. Hunter just barges off the first challenge, and that's a lovely offload as well from the towering forward, and just puts it straight into the basket for Thompson, and he's going to go in for a try. And yeah, that's probably the game done now, but great play from deep from Peebles to get that score.
Yeah, great play from the forward there, from Ewan Hunter. It's great to see taking the contact hard, and then first instinct is get those hands free and look for the offload either side, and he knew his mate was inside him in Wilson and Thompson, and he spoke to him well and good communication, and got in for the fifth try, and that'll probably be game over, as you say. And Peebles have looked good since they narrowly lost in that first game to Gala. They've been one of the most impressive sides here tonight.
The ball's just been hacked out from behind that scrum. It's Oliver McClyman is again just making a nuisance of himself, which the wee wiry scrum half has done all evening. just borderline there on the wrong side of the law. And it's now Peebles to Thompson. He juggles the ball and just fingertips it into the air and then gathers it. He does a little switcheroo and spins round, and now he's scampering over the 5 metre line and he's in the corner for a try, and Peebles extend their lead, and that is probably going to be the last play of this game, and you've got to say that they're going to be the winners of the Campbell Cup.
Yeah, no, really consistent play from Peebles. Certainly these last 2 games, since they lost to Gala in that opening tie, since they've entered this Shield, they've been very, very strong, and they're gathering in the middle there to congratulate each other, and all credit to them. It's easy for a team when you probably come here and expect to compete for the main cup, and then you get that shock of losing, and then it's easy to get the heads down, but they've fought right till the end, and they've obviously thought, like, let's go for this, let's make sure this Shield's ours, if nothing else we'll go home with silverware tonight.
And Ross Wolfenden adds the extras, and it is the final play of the Shield final, which is named the Campbell Cup, and Peebles are the victors. Peebles Colts, after getting knocked out by Gala Wanderers, they've managed to sweep aside Hawick, and then Selkirk on their way to lifting the Campbell Cup.